Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Yvonne from Ginger Chick Rehab. Today's video I will be bringing you, along with my husband Chris, we will be bringing you a thrifted dresser flip. This is a dresser that we found at Habitat, and boy, it is a project piece. So on our channel we do thrift flips. We take unwanted, unloved, outdated furniture and give it new life, and we share the process and our vision of what we do to these items to get them ready to resell. And we are blessed to have a couple retail booths here locally in an antique mall. So can you see the beauty in this piece? We actually picked this up for $10 at our local Habitat for Humanity. It looks like it was a project piece that somebody had started, and maybe they weren't quite sure how to finish it, or maybe they got in above their head. I don't really know, but I thought we both agreed that we could see the beauty in this piece. So though they had already used a type of paint stripper on it on the top of the dresser and then on the drawers, the fronts of the drawers, you could tell that it had run over on, unfortunately, onto the other parts of the drawers. But it just, so I think some of the product probably got into the crevices of all that detailing on the side. So I can't say that this was a fun time for Chris to work in and get all that build up paint, which I do think it's some of the stripping product along with it, because it was definitely caked in. So as he was working on the legs of this piece, he noticed that the wheels needed a little bit of help. They were painted, they were gunked on. Yet again, I think that stripper had run onto them, and so he chose just to pop them off, and God bless that they were able to pop off, because sometimes those wheels do not pop off. So as he grabbed some of the Dollar Tree Awesome Cleaner and a metal bristle brush, trying to clean off the buildup of paint off these so they could roll properly, it just is a nice accent to have these vintage type of wheels for this dresser. And then he had that aha moment. Instead of trying to scrape and get all that paint bit off and make this a nice round circle, he got his grinder out and said, yep, I'm just going to grind these, get that paint off, make these so that they roll properly again. So this is one of those items that is the love of the trade, because I can tell you that even though he didn't video all of him getting all that paint off, using his chisel tools and little scrapers to get all that build off, so this has a nice beautiful paint job. Yes, everybody asked, well, how much do you make an item? You should pay for your time and effort. Oh my gosh, sometimes there's no way you'll ever make it on your as much time as sometimes you put on into a piece. So luckily this piece was only $10. So as you see, Chris has got his super clean, and he is cleaning this entire piece off. This is a great degreaser, gets all that crud off that definitely needed to be taken off. So then when he got to cleaning the top, I guess he didn't quite notice, maybe he thought maybe that would come off, that marks on the top. So he got the orbital sander out and started to sand to see if that would come out. And maybe that's why the person donated it to Habitat, that they couldn't get that off either. So we both loved the vision of what the person that tried to do this piece in the first, where they left that drawers natural and that top natural. Though he's going to be painting the entire side white. It's just that veneer board. It just has beautiful details, but the veneer board it's not worth trying to stain on the side. And maybe that's when the person realized that they're just like, yeah, I'm just going to donate it. I'm done with this project, because they probably tried to strip that all off. And so he's just giving it a nice fresh coat of white Kills Paint and Primer. So it's funny how you know that this dresser was already going to be a problem child, because we thrifted it as a problem child. And of course that veneer board is going to start bleeding through with that first coat of paint. So yep, Chris has got to go in with a couple coats of shellac to stop that bleed through. The nice thing about shellac is 5-10 minutes it is dry, so he was able to apply the 2 coats, and now he's on to his second coat of the Kills paint and primer. And so you definitely can tell that it will be covering a lot better, though there's going to be some spots that probably need a little bit more spray, especially in those corners, but at least you know, he's got the most of the surface area covered, and he can go back in the little areas if need be. So let's see, can we have a third problem come from this problem child? So as the second coat of paint dried, look what the bottom of the veneer board did. It all puckered up. I don't know if that was a reaction from the stripper, even though he washed it off, it had weakened the wood. So he did cut in to where it had puckered to relieve that pressure, and now he's going to be using some CA glue, trying to get those puckers to lay down and then clamping them. If this is something that you try yourself at home, on the other side of that board that he clamped, he has a piece of packing tape so that it has that smooth, shiny surface so that it can come unattached. And so at least it kind of helped those puckers a little bit. And now he's going to go through and give it some spackle. And then to get that most surface area sanded smooth, just going to sand it. We're going to have to put a board over this anyway. It just does not look very nice. And what if, as you put another coat of paint on, it puckers more? So, yep, problem child number 3 here. As I'm sanding on that spackle, I was like, oh my gosh, is that writing on the back of this piece? So I stopped for a minute and noticed the Jackson 5 and noticed the 1970 date. And nope, we left it just as is. I think it is a great story to this piece. So now that it is sanded as smooth as you can possibly get it, Chris is going to be putting this type of a piece of board on it. It's going to cover pretty much all of it, but that way you can glue down, you can put a couple little brad nails in there, and then it has the pressure to keep that veneer so that way that's not puckering all the way up. So nope, that wasn't able to be sanded off. That is that veneer overlay also on the top of this dresser. I don't really know what it is because it was a thrifted item, but I went to Menards. I picked up some of this Zinsser's wood bleach, and I'm going to give that a try. I had done a little side table not too long ago that you guys told me about Clorox bleach, but I didn't think that was going to be enough for as dark as this stain is. And the other piece was real wood, and this is that veneer board. So this is a 2-part bleach. It has an A and a B, and it tells you how many minutes to let it sit. So you want to keep the directions. So I'm going to just Q-tip this on right to this dark area, because I feel if I put it on the entire piece, then I'm going to just have the same problem. I'm going to lighten the entire piece and lighten where the dark spot is. So I'm going to just do it just right on this little area first. Then after I let it sit for the 5 minutes, then I add the part B. So the same thing, I'm just Q-tipping it, keeping it in the area you can, because you know it's a liquid, so it's going to spread. And so I'm just kind of rubbing it on top of each other. So I did notice at first it seemed to be getting worse before it got better. And so after it sat its next appropriate time, I then proceeded to take some water and wipe it off. And then even though I thought I hit the record button on the camera, I did go in with some Clorox bleach and bleach the entire top, which seemed to get those other marks off. Maybe the Jackson 5 on the back of that dresser is giving me how many problems this dresser is going to have, because look at that. Nope, I can't resell that. That is where that stripper had just ran all over this. So what I'm doing, yep, I have to sand each and every one of these drawers down. And we had just picked up this new sander that had a pointy tip. God wink moment that I was going to have to get into the corner of these drawers. Then after I let that top of this dresser dry, I could go back in with the orbital sander and sand as much of whatever the top coat that was left on the top of this off. But I have to say that Zinsser bleach worked rather well, because that's where that main stain was, and look, it's pretty much gone. And what I'm doing now is there's just a little bit of some top coat that's still on here that needs to be sanded off. So then I do need to have some areas inside the dresser also that need to be cleaned. There have some wooden parts right here that you'll see from the front. They have paint on it. I don't know if it's paint or from, like I said, the stripper. And then inside where the drawers go, they're also going to be needed sanding off too. So luckily Chris has this multi-tool with this sanding head, because none of the other sanders fit in here, and I would have had to hand sand all of this off. But this piece needs to be stained to match the front of those drawers. So then I thought, well, I did bleach the top of that dresser, so maybe I should bleach the top of these drawers also. It's still that veneer board. I don't know if it's going to change it too awful much, but hey, I'll get a nice clean surface. So I'm just using the Clorox. I'm not using that Zinsser. That seems to bleach it just fine. So I left it on, let it sit till it dried, and then I'm just going to be wiping it off with just some warm, clean water. So usually my go-to is a dark walnut stain, but I really wanted it to be a little bit more ashy, so I have this stain that I had picked up purposely for this project. I think I'll have to share the link. I'm not sure how to pronounce the stain. It's supposed to be a little bit more ashy, because I knew that this top was already kind of pulling gold, that I wanted to try to tone it down. So I'm just using a foam brush, wiping that stain on, and then I'll take a rag and wipe off any excess. So I'm actually going to be doing this same stain to these drawers, and actually I'm going to be doing it to the entire drawer, because now that is that poplar wood. I always pronounce that wrong, but it has some green in it, and it's made to be stained. It's not made to be raw. So after I finish the face of these, I will go back through and do the entire drawer. So the one drawer has these little details, and that's probably what got me and Chris, that little detail. So I have to go in with a little brush with the stain and go around it. I don't want that piece to stain, because I still want to be able to paint that. But I feel like staining it first and then painting it is my best option. And so now I'm onto the inside of the dresser. Yep, to me, every piece and part of an item matters. So there's this area that I sanded smooth. I got any of that buildup off. And now I'm just going in and giving it some fresh coats of some white paint just to blend it all together. It's got all that beautiful detailing. And yep, I want it to all be nice and clean. So the one thing about this project is I'm always waiting for paint to dry somewhere, or stain to dry. So now while that paint is drying, I am on to using polyacrylic. Now I've never tried one of these foam applicators before. I saw other furniture flippers do it. So I'm hoping that it works out. I'm not really sure. So you just put a little bit on and then you smooth it out. So I guess it works just similar to the foam brush. Just this, I have to say, this poor little dresser was a very dry piece. And yep, not only did I have to polyacrylic the front of these dresser drawers, I had to polyacrylic the whole entire thing, because yep, I stained the whole entire thing, so you have to seal it in. So you could say we definitely teamed this dresser. So now Chris is going in with some fine grit steel wool and getting any of that texture from couple coats of polyacrylic leaves, we like our pieces to be nice and smooth. So he's just going in with some fine grit steel wool and sanding this piece smooth. And I have to say, I know that the veneer board on top and the edge piece took a little bit different with the stain, but I like it. I like different colors of wood. I don't know about you, but I do like different colors of wood. Now, even though I got the stains off the top of this piece, I can't say that it stained perfectly. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going in with some Waverly in the white wax, and I'm just going to tie everything together. I'm going to let some of that white wax get in that crease of that lip of the top, and then when it comes to these drawers, I want that detailing, that router detailing that's in those drawers, I want to fill that up with some of this white wax too, so you can see that also. Yes, I'll just answer it before somebody says, well, you could have just painted the inside of that white. I don't know. That probably would not have made a clean of line as the wax filling this wonderful detailing in. And then now I can go back in and I can take a little bitty brush and I can get these little features, this little decorative feature painted white. Though it would have been nice, I kind of thought maybe they'd pop out as the natural, but that didn't do anything for them. So to protect that white paint on the side of the dresser, he is just now going on to the Varathane finishing wax and the natural. And I love this stuff. It's just a wipe on and a wipe off. And he's using one of those waxing brushes to get into all that detail in the front of this. So if you're a regular to our channel, you know what comes next. This black and white Toile Dollar Tree contact paper. Yep, I love this to line our drawers with. Even though I know that these are as clean as they could possibly be now, I still love that pop of this Toile in the drawers. So it'll take about one roll per drawer, but it's okay because it was the dollar store, so very cost efficient that way. For me to put the contact paper in, I just line that front drawer spot with the front and try to get that nice and level, get that kind of tacked down, stuck down, and then work from the middle out in making sure that I don't have any air pockets or creases. And then I work my way around with my fingers and my nails to make a line. And then I pull that line back. When I get into the corner, I can see where I can relieve that pressure of where I can make a nice clean cut. So then I cut those corners. So see where I'm doing? I'm pulling that back. I can see where that corner has made a 90-degree angle, and then I can cut where the point is. And what that's doing is relieving that pressure. So when I go back in with this metal spatula, and the X-Acto knife, I can go and get that a nice tight fit. So would we consider this the fifth problem child? Maybe that Jackson 5 is something. So when we thrifted this, we knew that it didn't have any hardware with it. Yet again, it was $10, and we thought maybe we had something in our hoard that we could use. But the original hardware had made marks in this veneer that you really couldn't get out, and spackling it, since we wanted to stain it, wasn't really an option. So I had to go to Amazon and find these, but I was actually amazed. I never really looked too much on Amazon for hardware, and that these pieces that would cover, they were like $12 for 10 of them, so it wasn't too bad. I love that they had that piece. They were already black. They're a little bit shinier than I like, but I'm not going to deal with painting them. We've already done a lot to this piece. So black it is, shiny, a little bit shinier than we're used to, but they did need to have a couple washers on it to make the screw fit, but that was okay, because I definitely think that these piece of hardware definitely fits this dresser. thank you so much for watching today's video, and what did you think about that dresser flip? Oh my goodness, yes. It had so many needs. I don't know if that Jackson 5 was a little like it's gonna have 5 needs or not, but it was well worth it. $10. Wow. We knew it was going to be a lot of work when we thrifted it, but boy, I do think she is a beauty now. So I thank you so much for watching, and if you're part of my YouTube family, thank you so much for helping our channel grow, your kind supportive compliments and your comments, and we just so heartwarming and just appreciate it. And if you're new to our channel and you're checking it out for the first time and you enjoy this kind of content, feel free to hit that subscription button along with the notification bell, so you know when we've uploaded a new video.